Oh, we're good? Okay. Thank you, guys. Welcome back to another week of FetchQuest, guys. It's been a long time. I'm glad to see you guys again. Um, it's going to be a great session tonight. I know I've been saying this every week, but I haven't been wrong yet. Some questions answered, more questions raised. Don't promise I'm going to answer any of the questions you guys actually are asking, but it's going to be a great time. Uh, Jovan, you wanted to go ahead and catch us up from last episode?
Yeah, I'd love to. So last time we came from a trek through the crossroads, or rather a tentative poking around, returning to our chambers to find a very old friend, the Cheshire Knight, waiting there for us, wanting to talk. We heard them out, asked them a little bit about Velirine, found out that it might be a place or a time or both, and that there are some points of it that might be repeating or have been repeating. Little bit hard to figure out. However, we couldn't get much more out of him when he seemed to vanish out of thin air. Uh, with that, we decided to turn it in for the night, in which we ended up waking up on a snow covered mountain top, in which a very familiar looking magic user stood in the center of a very large circle surrounded by these four towers who looked an individual who looked like Damocles's dad and who we then discovered was Theobrin. Evidently Theobrin on the cusp of performing some ritual of some sort when being disrupted by the martyr, whom he seemed to assume was Zon before the true historical visage of the martyr stepped forth. And we then proceeded to do battle with Theobrin, who had been determined to slay us as traitors of a sort. After a very tense fight, we managed to come out victorious and awoke from our dream, slightly changed, slightly stronger than we were, and with some very tense questions, some very strange things happening, particularly with Domiko seeming to lose his voice and needing to rely on telepathy to communicate with us. Some very strange questions arising about everything, more or less. We were summoned to speak with the Vampire Lord, and I believe we left off entering that throne room of sorts to meet with the lord of this castle, and Jesler being present as well.
Perfect. So yes, you guys do walk up to see the throne is the Lord is kind of splayed in their throne, one leg over one arm, kind of draping themselves across it. Not even really looking at you guys, just kind of focusing off into the void. Jethra's eyes kind of like widen when she sees you guys, and she's about to take a step forward. Then she looks over at the Lord and kind of goes back to a more like um, almost at attention position next to the throne.
I'm sort of just waiting for the butler to either announce us in or for him to give me a sign that we are up.
So when you looked at the butler for some cue, the butler is gone.
All right.
In fact, like looking around this chamber, you notice that the servants that were there last time are gone.
Right. Okay. I will step up into a more speaking area to see if he actually notices me there.
There's no verbal confirmation, but his eyes do attach onto yours.
Good evening, my lord. Is there anything that you wish to discuss with us, or are you only here to see our questions?
I've read your report about the ambassador.
Yes.
I also do not trust this supposed peace, especially when I've heard reports of a, I'd say, more brutal way of enforcing said peace coming from up north. In the farther reaches, there have been some villages whose communications have gone almost silent. So, whether this is something to worry about, or whether they are simply planning to grow some territory, I've already sent some of my finest scouts to investigate. But no matter, you've done well. Here is your prize. He kind of gestures, like, limply with one hand, and Jethro kind of looks over and does kind of like a double take, looking to make sure, and then she kind of quickly walks over to you guys. She does, like, as she's walking up, you can tell, looks like she's hiding something under her shirt.
Can I make a perception or insight check?
Sure.
Which would you like?
If you're trying to take a look at, like, what exactly are you trying to do? Trying to figure out what's
I'm
under her
trying
shirt?
to figure out if it's the dagger or not, because that's what I assume it is.
Make an just make an investigation check.
Sure.
It doesn't look like the dagger.
Okay.
It looks more to be quite a few things, actually, that she's just kind of like trying to hide from the Lord's view as much as she can as she kind of shovels forward.
Sure. All right. Well, thank you, my lord. I hope that my information was helpful to you then. A few things. I'm curious what your plan or how you feel about Moroth currently is.
I care nothing for Moroth.
I'm gonna insight check that.
Sure.
I assume he is correct, but I feel like he's got something hiding.
He really doesn't seem to care about Moroth. It doesn't, and like that kind of makes sense. It's gotten to the point where a city of vampires is starting to become slowly a myth in Moroth. There's been no communication between the two capitals to the point where they believe they're each their own independent country, even though they reside in the same country.
Figured. I assumed to start. Well, being that we are friendly with each other then, will you agree that we can have at least freedom to move about your grounds and within your city?
There are a few places that still will remain restricted, but yes.
Of course, I
I
understand.
do request you stay for just a few more days. At
May I
least
ask
until the
why?
moon. There is a special ritual that requires certain elements. You've gathered the necessary elements for me, but there are certain presences that would not be so keen on us performing the ritual. And I require defense.
Right. What sort of elements do not like this ritual then?
Well, you've gathered us the Thunderweave, and we've the rest of the list I provided was the necessary elements, but really the more status you'd be taking would be preventing this ritual from being interrupted, and I do not request this lightly. This would be a dangerous mission.
Well, we are not, unfortunately, not strangers to danger. However, I do wish that you would be more forthcoming of what this ritual entails and who we'd be defending you from, just so we are aware.
It's very hard to describe. And he stands and then approaches the side where these big tapestries are hanging down, and snaps his fingers, and one of the tapestries is pushed aside by a servant, revealing a open corridor, and 4 servants come out holding what are they called? It's 2 long poles of wood with a large ceramic vase placed in the middle of it. They sort of march out from this corridor. The servant that pushed aside the tapestry waits for one more person to come out. Then they both scurry to the throne and push that aside, revealing another corridor behind the throne. The Lord looks at you and says, "It's much easier to show and then describe what the job is. There is a requirement, though. For this moment, you must leave your weapons behind."
I want to insight check that.
Sure.
This isn't a trap.
He seems to be as honest as possible. I mean, it looks like he's genuinely trying to get you on his side. But it does look like he's rather firm. Weapons do need to be left outside. If you're worried about someone taking them, no one would steal in this castle.
I figured not. It is not likely for us to typically leave our weapons behind, but I'm completely fine with it as long as the rest of my party is. So I'm taking the axe off and the sword.
Damagos will leave his daggers in short sword.
I'm going to undo the short sword from my belt and leave it. Do they look like they look at my bracers as weapons?
So a servant comes by and collects up your weapons and puts them on a pillow, and then kind of bows and leaves behind a tapestry. The Lord does look directly at your bracers.
Okay. If he's looking, then he probably knows. So I will look at him, looking at them, and work to undo them. And I don't think I've ever tried to take them off. Do they come off?
Yeah, they come off.
Okay. I'm going to take them off and hold them for a servant to collect.
So he kind of looks around, looks at each of you, kind of notices that Damocos is glowing a little bit, which he does raise an eyebrow at, but then turns and starts to head down the corridor, preceded by the 4 servants that are holding the large vase. As you guys, I assume you guys are following him?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Cool. So as you guys are following, Jovan, you're starting to get this dull throbbing in the back of your head as you're approaching this corridor. And as you get closer and closer, almost to the threshold, you can hear a voice saying, "Break free. Don't let him control you." At the threshold of the door, everyone has crossed it. You're just the only one standing behind it. The pain is almost unbearable.
So there's a throbbing in the back of my head, and I hear a voice saying to break free.
Yeah, there's it felt like a soft tapping, but now it feels like a full blown migraine, like somebody's trying to chisel through your skull. Also, I do want to point out that Noodle is also left behind at this point.
Oh, thank
So
God.
Noodle is sitting in the throne room.
Good.
The Lord is not going to let Noodle ruin whatever is going to happen next.
I'm going to just slow down a little bit in my steps, but try to keep up with the party, just like attempting to grit my teeth.
Sure. So as you cross the threshold, you guys hear a thud, and you turn around as Jovan, as his foot was crossing over the threshold, just kept moving forward until he fell. Jovan, you are continuing down this path. You're looking for someone. You can't quite remember who, but you are looking for someone. You hear rapid footsteps following behind you, and then you're pushed aside by a rather haughty looking man with dark, almost black curls. He looks at you with a sneer, and he looks at you with a sneer and goes, "Fallen butcher." Pushes past you, heads down the corridor, throws open a large oak door, and continues on through. You hear some shouting. You do recognize Theobrin's voice. And then you hear the same individual that called you a fallen butcher shout, "I'll kill you, you monster!" Sorry, I can't yell. My son is sleeping. I've been told if I wake him up one more time, I'll be in very much trouble.
Understandable.
So, Jovan, when you, of course, run in, you do see that this figure is fighting with Theobrin. And as you're about to approach them, Theobrin smacks this snake-headed staff against the ground, and a ripple of blue energy comes out from him. You can see the ground almost like start to crystallize at this figure's feet, and you're blown up against the wall, and your vision goes black. When you start to fade in, you see Theobrin's face up close against yours, and Theobrin does not look pleased at all. So, Curus couldn't wait. At least it was the head of the Forsaken rather than some lackey. Oh, you're awake? Tell that bastard I'll go when I'm ready. And he stands up, and as you're kind of like reaching out for him, he brings the base of the staff down on your temple, and you wake up surrounded by the party in the middle of the hallway.
You all right?
I'm just gonna clutch my head where Theobrin's staff would have come down. Just eyes looking wildly around for like trying to get my bearings again.
Does this happen often?
No, not very often. Just like Theobrin's not here, just the party.
Theobrin?
It's nothing. I apologize for the delay.
You understand that if you were to do this inside of there, he points to a large stone door where the servants have already like inserted the vase into a sort of section by the door and are emptying whatever the contents are into it. And the elder would tear you apart.
I'll try to be mindful of that. Thank you for the warning. But I'm fine.
And the Lord kind of looks you up and down, turns and heads back to the door, waiting for the vase to be emptied out. All right. Anything you guys are doing, or are you just waiting?
Yeah, I was about to. As he's getting back up, I'm crouching down quietly next to him. We need to have a discussion about that after this. That's
Don't
not
have to
something
tell
that
me.
should be happening. You also
Yes,
should not be mentioning those people's names here.
Yes, I do agree with that. I say into Jovin's mind.
I don't usually expect to be ambushed quite like that either.
Well, you weren't ambushed, you fell unconscious.
Just- We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, I know we will. I'd stomp off. God.
It follows on.
Headache is
And I'll
completely
follow
gone.
behind.
By the way, Yevon, headache is completely gone.
Ah,
Cool. So as you guys approach, the Lord doesn't even look at you. When the vase is emptied, the servants take it and head back. And you guys hear a loud boom come from inside of the chamber. And the Lord turns and goes, okay, some rules. Do not look at him. If he approaches, do not make eye contact. Look at his feet. Don't mention him. Don't be near him. He's barely tolerant of vampires, let alone non-vampires. The Elder is not as refined as the others you might have met, myself included. Our treaty is more of a, I'd say gentleman's agreement, but he's not quite a gentleman. Don't push it any more than we have to for now. Okay?
Understood.
Good. He turns, takes a deep breath, pushes open the huge stone door. And you guys are on the new map. So, inside, Joven, you recognize. Oh shoot! How long is? I hate the waiting room thing. By the way,
I was just gonna suggest, she's probably trying to get in.
I wish it would ding or something. Why doesn't it ding? Yeah, sorry about that. Don't know how long you were sitting in the waiting room.
Literally like 2 seconds.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
there you go.
Thank goodness.
I looked over and I was like, oh god, there's someone in the waiting room.
It's fine.
Okay, so quick recap. Joven passed out and made the vampire lord upset with everyone. But you guys are now going into the Elder's Lair.
Yeah, Robert's been giving me a play-by-play since I got home.
Righteous. Okay.
Awesome.
So.
God damn it, Yovi.
As you guys walk in, it looks to be a pretty well-kept library. I mean, there does look to be like some broken stairs, some broken banisters. It looks to be a sort of kind of like old stains right about here. But other than that, I mean, everything looks pretty well taken care of. As you guys approach down, you can hear the sounds of someone drinking off to your right. And the Lord just kind of shakes his head and leads everybody down this path. And I'm just going to take the group and lead you guys down to where there is a large blue crystal with the dark shape of someone inside. And etched into the ground in what looks to be chalk are sigils and a very large, almost pentagram shape. It seems to be that this large crystal, is almost on a makeshift altar. The Lord just completely stops, bows his head, and puts his hand to his chest and starts murmuring under his breath.
The sigils, can I recognize what they are, what they say?
Make an Arcana check. Not
Reminder
really.
of the. Okay.
I'm sorry?
I have the thing that reads all writing, so.
It's not even really necessary that. I mean, it's really more of just, it's not that they're necessarily words. It's more like
It's the
just
magical formulae. It's not normally legible.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is magical, but it's not something that you would have studied.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, Noodle is not in the room. We left him in the throne room to not cause chaos.
He's going to eat that throne, and it's not going to be my fault.
It would be worse if he were down here.
Yeah, we have a list of rules that we got, which is do not look at the
Heard.
altar. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if Noodle could follow one of those.
Does this look like a humanoid in this crystal?
Make an investigation check for me.
Cool.
Yeah, you can make out a vague humanoid shape. It does look like the crystal kind of sprouted up around them, almost as if by magic.
Does it look like they did it purposefully, or was someone casting something on this person?
From this person's pose, from the vague shadowy pose you can make out through this dark blue crystal, it doesn't look like this person accidentally cast it on themselves. It looks like this was cast on them.
Okay. Well, I meant more of, does it look like they wanted this casted on them, or does it look like someone forced this on them?
Unfortunately, you can't really tell. It's difficult to see through this
Okay.
the dark crystal. I'm not referencing Jim Henson.
Just waiting until the Lord does something then.
Cool. Anybody else want to do anything?
Does this room look like the room I entered when I went into my...
Yep.
Oh boy.
I'm going to telepathically ask Azan, should we follow his suit and also bow our heads and mimic him?
Shrug.
Does it look like the Lord is like avoiding eye contact or looking at whatever this crystalline entity is?
Make an insight check.
Nope.
You can't really. I mean, it can't really tell.
I mean, his
what the
head's
Lord is doing.
pointed down, isn't it, right now?
It's kind of like pointed to the side and down, with his hand over his chest. I was gonna say heart, but he's a vampire. Hearts don't really beat. I don't count it as an individual. And he's murmuring under his breath.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the floor because I don't know yet if this is the Elder or not. But
Yeah,
I'm
looking
just
at the
sort
floor
of
too.
waiting until whatever he's murmuring finishes, or he tells us to do something, because we are his lackeys right now.
Gotcha.
I'm going to be
Car-
trying to look around to see what room it was that I, like, that whichever oak door, if it might still be around here.
Cool. Go ahead and make a perception check.
Jeez.
You can't really tell where the oak door would have been. Honestly, at this point, it's been so much time, and for all you know, this thing could have been restructured. Also, according to S, time doesn't really exist in anywhere, so who knows? Car, did you have anything you wanted to do? Okay, so after like about a minute, the Lord stops and lifts his head, and he goes, "This is our God."
Not in character.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Starts
I
a
thought you
war.
were going to get us murdered.
It's like, oh, Zon's finally cracked.
On crack 2PK. Let's go.
Oh my god. Oh man, yeah, that would have been a TVK. With the point you guys are in right now, oof. But
Zon has held back laughter from many a political event before. I think this is not something he would just outwardly laugh at. Even though inside he definitely is at right moment. All right.
Not
what-
the crystal.
Well,
The
I
inside the
assume
crystal.
the inside, yes. Who is it?
He is the first of our order. His name has been lost, but we remember him. And we are going to free him.
Still not in character, for good God. Alright, so this is the first vampire, you're saying?
Yes.
And what happens when we free him?
Well, there will be no more threat from the north.
True, I would prefer not to start a war between your two countries, however.
They've been causing our villages to disappear. If they really wanted peace, they would have sent an envoy only, not the monster they've chosen to herald their army.
Monster?
There have been reports. A butcher. A creature who blades and arrows seem to dance off of.
But it happened to be known as the Crow.
No.
Ah.
Do not worry about the crow.
Apologies, but my curiosity a bit worries me about the Crow, being that it also speaks of a creature that steals Morothian people in the night.
That's a Morothian fairy tale. All the crow does is, let's say, protect Moroth from its
Insight
more
check.
curious citizens. Sure.
God!
Yep.
Can I try and roll an insight just because I have heard this? Have I heard the story of the crow? Or
I mean,
no?
all of you guys have heard the story of the crow. I will
So I
allow
would-
for one more insight roll.
Not me. I mean, I'll do it, but it's a +1.
Would you like to, Car, or would you like me to?
My insight is also +1, so
I'll try, but the dice have not been very kind.
So, he doesn't seem to want to talk about the crow. The crow does seem to be tied to the vampires in some way. But the way his tone when he phrased the word protects Moroth does not make it sound like the crow is there for Morothian citizens' best interest.
like cops.
Kind of.
It's not like cops at all, but okay. Right. Moving on from the crow, then. What is this monster?
Monster.
The monster you talked about, the monstrosity.
I don't know his name. I don't know what he is. He performs deeds so vile I would refuse to speak of them in polite company. They are disturbing acts of murder and mayhem. The North is coming, and they are burning their way to us.
I can understand your need for a defensible option. However, I wish to understand a bit more if this being that we are trying to free is a very, very powerful being indeed. I worry both in my self-interest for Moroth, among your self-interest for defense.
Are you insinuating that our god would turn its gaze upon Moroth once the North is dealt with?
I would hope not, but I would need some sort of assurance that it wouldn't.
Our god will not turn its attention elsewhere until the entire North is drained.
Well, now see, I also don't exactly want you to commit a genocide here.
They are committing genocide against our people.
I want to insight check that again and make sure he's actually telling me the truth and not
Sure.
over-exaggerating. That's better.
He does seem to be fueled a little bit by panic at this point, which is odd that panic is breaking through his normal, stone-faced expression. But he does seem to be incredibly worried about, the forces from the North coming down, especially about who he's referring to as like the herald of the army.
All right. Then we are in agreement then. If we help you with this, you are claiming that you will lead a more alliance-like pact with Moroth to avoid any sort of conflict with this being.
If that is what's required.
I can agree to that. As he puts out a hand in a typical political fashion.
And the Lord looks at it, looks at you, goes, and kind of takes it, shakes it quickly, and puts his hand back to his side. I'll draft up the official terms of the treaty. I do assume you're a member of the ruling class.
Well, we are noble-born here, but not exactly part of the ruling class yet. And I put yet in a sort of obvious play.
Perhaps it is wise to be making a treaty with you then. I will have it drafted up. Surely by now you've heard of the moon fog, or at least, if you haven't heard what it does.
We've heard of it in passing, however we aren't exactly entirely filled in on what it is or does.
It drives the lichens mad. It's, on its purest night, can also make... It also feeds into our unfortunate thirst. However, on its lesser nights, which are starting tomorrow evening, the rituals that keep this place held up weaken. So we may be able to break him through. But we will speak more of this upstairs. And he turns and walks. And as you guys, let me just spin y'all around. And as you guys get over here, you do notice that there is a figure standing kind of off in the shadows. From what you can tell, it looks to be a large, grotesque figure with huge wings kind of draped over itself, with one beady red eye watching you guys go up the stairs. Then he leads you through the stone door and shuts it. And then as you guys walk through the corridor, your weapons are still there. However, some of the tapestries are chewed on. A few cushions are missing, and there's also a chair that has disappeared. And sitting in the middle of the room, looking very pleased with himself, is Noodle. As you guys walk through the corridor, crossing through the threshold, servants slide the throne back into place, and you can see that some of them are already working on repairing the tapestries, and somebody has already brought out like replacement cushions and has replaced the chair.
Right. Well, as far as this moon fog goes, what do you need from us next?
I need you to kill the Elder.
Oh,
Huh.
that was a bit not what I thought it was going to be. Sorry, phone alarm is
Or
going
at the
off.
very least, I need you to prevent him from killing me. The Elder apparently sees our god as some sort of trophy, and would not like him being released.
Insight check once more.
Sure.
I should have used my channel divinity like 10 minutes ago, because it lasts 10 minutes, but whatever.
Would you like to use it now?
No.
As far as you can tell, he's being truthful. His expression has kind of like gone back to stone a little bit now that you're no longer near his god. But he does seem to be telling you guys the truth.
I just was making sure he didn't have any ulterior motives beyond he was just trying to get us to kill this elder all along. Alright. That is a step. I see. Does the moon fog affect him at all, other than weakening?
The Elder, or our god.
The elder.
We do not visit on the day of the pure moon fog. On the days of the lesser moon fog, we do not interact with him at all, so we are not sure whether his attitude changes. But if our hunger increases on the day of the pure moon fog, which again we're not going in during, he is more powerful than any one of us here.
Then it's more likely we should do this sooner rather than later, you're saying.
Tomorrow would be our best chance.
Alright.
In fact, I'm hesitant to do this, and I'm not sure if the moon fog would take the same place during the day, but it might be a little bit better to act during the daytime.
I figured as much. One final question. How aware are you of the history that you have of this place?
We know this was a citadel to a great civilization a long time ago. Our own records have failed when it comes to describing this beyond. It was a land where magic and technology infused themselves as one, where the people, although divided in theory, lived in harmony.
Figured.
And one day it collapsed.
Right.
Everything falls to civil unrest.
That's all things we were aware of already. We just wanted to know if you had any more insight If so, I just want to go over our agreement one more time. We will do this for you. Kill your elder. As far as my party is aware, I assume they agree with me. In response, you will make sure that this being that we release, or help you release, won't cause any unrest to Moroth, only be used for your defense against the North. And hopefully build a treaty between us, as we most likely will be royals at some point, I hope.
Of course.
Would you also agree to have us have a bit more leeway in your library, just in case?
I can give you access to the 3rd floor.
That is fine with me. Anything further? Yes,
I do
to
want
the
to
rest
say,
of the party and the elder lord, whatever.
I do want to say that if we do decide to do this in the daytime, I will also be weakened, so the ritual may take longer.
Can you do the ritual once he is gone, or can it
I can-
only be done at the same time?
I can do the ritual at any time. It'd be a lot easier if he were gone, but he is aware of who crosses his threshold. If we satiate him with a tithe of blood in order to cross and see our God. I have another tithe prepared.
Wouldn't it be more pertinent for us to just kill him completely then?
Well, yes.
Well, then once he is dead, then you can just do the ritual whenever, would it not?
I suppose that does work, yes.
Then we can do it tomorrow in the daytime, and we will make sure he is dead, so that you can do it when night falls.
You do not wish to see the unveiling of a god.
Well, I would wish to be around. Might be a bit tired, but we will stay up once our battle is finished to come see.
Very well. Let your servant, he nods to Jethra, tell her when you wish to go, and she shall tell the others. Then he puts himself back on his throne and disengages from the conversation, goes back into staring into space.
Well, one final question, I guess, about our servant. Is she free to be under our commission now, or is she still a part of your court?
She's yours.
Right. Thank you. I will begin to leave.
All right. And so, when you guys do leave, the doors shut behind you. And there's you can hear the tape. You guys notice there's a lot more movement behind the tapestries than there was before. You get the feeling that some people have definitely heard your conversation with the Lord.
Yeah, I knew there were servants back there.
Perfect. So you guys heading just back to your rooms? Jethra is walking with you, and she still does look like she is hiding stuff under her shirt.
Yes, I will begin walking back to the room, helping her hide as best she can, because I can tell she's hiding something. I also want to take an aside to either Kara or Damikos. Would either one of you be able to send to our recent friend to set up a meeting of sorts?
That is not in my purview, sending, that is.
I only have message.
Damn. Alright.
I can find him.
Well, then we should try to find him to set up such a meeting, because that would be... I think we should discuss some things with him before we do anything tomorrow night, or tomorrow.
Very well.
Then I'll head back to the room.
Cool. So, you guys do enter in your rooms, and as soon as you get in, Jethro just kind of like lifts up her shirt a little bit, and just kind of like a whole bundle of things comes out. She opens it, and she goes, "I didn't mean to take things, but these things sort of just found their way to me."
Sure. What are they, and why did you take them?
So, so she unbundles the bundle, and she pulls out what looks to be a very intricately carved ball of wax. She goes, "This is called the Wax Maker," and she kind of holds it out for one of you to take.
I'll just take it. I'll just start
Cool.
taking everything she hands.
So you pick it up, and there's a soft wind that kind of blows across, and the candles in the room flicker for a second, and then they go back to just a steady flame.
Creepy. Next.
And she kind of pulls out the dagger, puts it like on the table.
Oh, she did have the dagger. Oh, good God.
Yeah, it was just hidden behind the stuff, and she goes, "I made sure they didn't see it."
Good. That was very good.
And then
Excellent.
she's digging through some other. She like pulls out 2 health potions, greater health potions, and she also pulls out a small steak.
You were hiding that.
I woke up and this was on my pillow.
Curious.
Is it made of silver?
No, it's just a wooden steak. Seems almost like it was made really quickly. As a woodsman, like as a guy who, as a carpenter, the craftsmanship is just horrible. This thing would break after. This thing probably couldn't even bust through the sternum.
Shoddy.
All right. Well, first of all, what does this do? As he holds out the wax thing.
Well, that I was going through the library on the 4th floor, cleaning as I was supposed to do, and I felt this breeze, and I heard this little song, and I noticed the door was open, and the door hadn't been opened before, so I walked in, and I was checking to see if anybody, had left the door open, if I was allowed to be in there, and I could hear the song playing down some hallway, and I walked through, and there were some other open doors, and then I saw that on there, so I picked it up, and I don't know, but I recognize it as the Wax Maker. I don't know what that means, just the name popped in my head when I picked it up.
Right. All right. Well, I'll hand it to Kara or Damakos.
Who do you hand it to?
It depends on who takes it. I'm just putting it out there for one of them to take it. Because I assume it is magical, and I have no purview on what to do with something like that.
So who is taking this ball of wax?
Do you want the firebug or the lightning bug to take it? And I'll take it.
Yeah, take it.
So you
That's
take
good.
it, and there is another breeze that kind of goes through the room, and the candles flicker, and then this time they go out. And this soft voice seems to kind of fill the room. I'm the wax maker. You get 3 wishes.
Out of character.
Light me up and make a wish.
Insight check?
Sure, make an insight
Yes,
check.
also insight
Go
check.
ahead.
This
Anyone
time
wants an
actually
insight
using
check?
the divine shit. Channel divinity. This is going to be +5. 28.
Cool.
7.
So, seems like a trustful voice. Zahn, this voice doesn't seem... It seems soft in volume only. The voice itself almost crackles with hunger. This voice has no good intentions at all. And in fact, taking another look at that carved ball, it looks to be a figure kind of curled up around itself with the wick like right where the back of its head would be.
Yeah, nah. I believe you have something of a monkey's paw scenario right there. As I pull out the bag of holding, please place it inside the bag so we do not do something horrible.
For once, I will put something in the bag of holding.
Cool. As soon as you put that bag in the bag of, as soon as you put the wax maker in the bag of holding, the candles all sort of light up again, and the room is filled with a little bit of a glow. It's no longer as dark as it was a moment ago.
All right. Very evil item you brought us aside, Jethra.
I didn't know.
I know. I do not blame you. It was obviously calling to you in a way that not a normal person would understand. But that definitely was not good. Either way, what the hell? What happened?
Oh, well, James said that if I wanted to be helpful, I would follow him, and I do want to be helpful, so I did follow him, and he took me out of town, and
Yes.
there, a strange lady handed James something, and she took me, and then I was in the castle, and I saw the Lord, and he said, "You are here for something greater." And then I was a servant.
I love you
Okay.
so much.
Okay.
Do you know
That
what this
is-
woman looked like?
Yes, I was
Could you
just going to
describe
ask that.
She had I remember she had red hair. She was sort of tall. She kind of looks up at Kara for a second, then looks down. But I don't remember much else.
God, insight check.
Do we all see that she looks at me?
It's 25.
So she's uncomfortable talking about whoever took her. She might have tried to make herself forget, but she definitely did look at Kara. So that means she either thinks Kara did it or someone who looked like Kara did it.
I'm redheaded and short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was just thinking the same thing I think you're thinking.
the implication.
Seeing Jethro's nervousness, I'm just gonna be like, the person who took you here, are they still within the grounds of the Fallen Keep?
I don't know. I never saw them after that.
Okay.
Did they give you a name?
No.
I understand that your predicament, and I apologize for that predicament, because it's happened under my watch, and I am not exactly thrilled with how James handled that situation.
He said he had to.
I
He
understand.
did say he was sorry.
Yes. I understand. He, however, did make the wrong choice. But beyond that, I need all of the information so that we can have it not happen again to someone else. So if there's anything more about this person that you do know, I would like to know it. Even if it's a little bit uncomfortable to say out loud.
She kind of looks down, and she's going to make a quick memory check. Oh, hey, pretty good. So she's going to kind of keep looking down, and she's going to say, well, the person looked a little bit like Kara.
But they were tall.
Yeah.
Similar in a very same way, or more in a familiar way, like a family?
More like a family way.
That's unfortunate.
But they weren't the only person there.
Who else was there?
There was a person on the top of the tower.
The Onyx one.
Yeah, I couldn't see him clearly, but he had a weird nose.
All right.
It was long.
Yes. Good to know. Thank you. You did well. I'm glad that this wasn't an unfortunate or unpleasant problem for you. But once we are done here, you can, well, stay within these dorms for now. Once we are done here and we head back down south, you can go back to your typical servant duties within the house if you wish. Or you can do whatever you like. I would like you to hang on to that dagger, however, because that will be of use to us eventually, but it is useful for you now. Would you like to say something, Carl?
Sorry, I just had a fucking idea.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to alter self into Floor.
She's kind of gonna step back a little bit. Yeah, that's her.
I take it you've seen this person before if you've changed into the.
I'm gonna look at you.
It's
Oh,
her
oh,
sister. It's
I've
very
seen
obvious.
this person before. Yes, I have. I'm gonna change back because I'm uncomfortable now.
We can discuss that later when we go back to Moroth. I don't know how pertinent that is to our situation right now. But I hope that you have more insight into that when it comes up, Kara. But anyways, do hang on to this dagger, please. It'll help you stay hidden from people that were chasing you. And we're a lot closer than I would like to be right now.
She immediately picks it up and holds it tight.
Good. Maybe find a scabbard for that. If someone will get it for you.
It does look to be in like a sort of rough leather scabbard.
Oh, okay. Well, a belt loop or something. But anyways, you're no longer a servant while we're here at least, so rest up, I guess. And I would stay probably confined here with all of the bad things that this moon fog might have within the next couple of days. Perhaps you can look after the dragon that we don't want to have around, but someone does.
His name is Noodle.
I
Oh,
don't care.
I'm going to introduce Noodle to Jethro.
She looks terrified.
It's he's only bitten Joven.
So far,
Even more
Right.
terrified.
He's a good boy.
It
I-
hurt quite a
I
bit.
am-
She's seen him devour an entire chair, cushion, parts of tapestries.
He's hungry. I am working on it. I am trying. I am almost to my fucking shit so that I can handle it better. But if we die, then I can't do that.
I mean, is that
Out of
really going to
character.
help? I know. Is that really going to help, though?
Yes!
It's a fucking dragon. Anyways, just unless you have anything more that you need to let us know about, I don't have any more questions. You can relax until we decide to leave. Oh god, we're going to have to find that other sword piece still, too.
Which means going to the north.
Yes, I know.
And this butcher.
Probably also the south.
Well, maybe it would be a smart idea to, after we free this being, let it do whatever they wanted to do up to the north, go back to Moroth, drop Jethro off, maybe kill a queen, and then go back up north once more and get our sword.
Jess is just kind of nodding along.
That's quite the plan.
Just,
Well-
kill a queen on our way. No big deal.
It's not obviously a well thought out plan at the moment, but that's what I believe we probably should do so that we don't make any more problems for ourselves.
That sounds
Was that
fun.
really that funny? I didn't think it was that funny, but okay.
He's at least 30 seconds behind, so I don't know what he's laughing at.
Well, I was talking that whole
I
time,
have
so I don't
pretty
think
good-
any of that was that funny.
Probably the plan when you brought up kill the queen.
Well,
So Jethro is going to kind of look around a little bit and kind of carefully walk out of the room. Not really looking like she's sure where she's going, but she'll find it.
I'll follow because that's weird.
Well, she's just kind of like meandering around. Kind of seems to be really just finding her way around these rooms.
Oh, okay. She's just exploring.
Yeah.
Well, she's
I-
free to do that now, so I don't really care.
I will look into finding Kirk, I suppose, now.
That would be a good
Good job.
idea. Though I don't know if you're going to be able to scry on him.
Oh, okay.
Only one way to find out. I begin casting Scry to try and find Kirk.
Cool. 10 minutes. And what's
Yep.
everybody else doing?
So
You
how
know.
many rooms is this suite? I never really got
It's
a...
don't make me put an actual thing to it.
Don't worry about it. We'll say
It's
going
got
to-
everything you need. Let's just say that.
I've been kind of trying to keep like a warm smile of sorts, just with Jethro being back. As she leaves, that smile kind of just like drops a bit, and he looks over to he just kind of takes a seat at like the dining table thing and kind of just kind of is just deep in thought, trying to plan out things for this fight. Got a hand on the short sword as he's thinking.
All right. Yovin's thinking. What's everyone else doing?
I'm just waiting for the scry. That's my most
Okay.
important thing right now.
We have a garment of his, correct?
No, actually, you
No.
don't have anything of Kirk's.
Cool. That's fine. I'm familiar with him.
Oh, no. I have an old vial of the water-breathing potion that I got from him, technically.
Sure. Okay.
I don't know if that'll actually help or not, but that's the only thing that I know that came from him.
What would
Yeah.
that be?
I think I have the
Possession or
vial.
garment.
I guess I'd count that as a possession.
This is likeness or picture, possession or garment, body part, lock of hair, bit of nail, or the like. Those all modify his save. And we are familiar with him, so that already modifies it a little bit.
All right. So what's his? I'll just give the vial to you guys as a possession. What's the save he's got to make?
It is a wisdom saving throw.
Of course.
-9.
Oh.
Oh man, he is already not good at wisdom.
Good. Makes it easier.
You know what? I don't even. It's such a low negative number. So you see Kirk. He's just kind of fucking chilling. Honestly, he's not doing much. He's just kind of sitting in the library. He's looking like just a generic vampire in the castle. He's sitting in the library just reading a book.
Can you tell what floor he's on?
Looks like he's on the first floor
All right.
because you can see the reception skeleton right there.
Just gonna mentally communicate that to Zahn. First floor library, regular vampire.
Cool. I will go find him, and I will nod towards Joven for a moment. I haven't forgotten. I have just been important things to do. Then we will talk about whatever the fuck that was.
I do not respond.
Yep.
Should we all go? Do you want
Well,
company in the library?
I'm going to most likely try to get him to go to a more discreet place, or at least I assume he will. So, if you'd like to follow me towards the library, and then we'll all go somewhere, that'd probably be helpful. Though I don't wish to spook him with a bunch of people showing up to his disguise.
All right. Joven Wolf just dead up, just roll his neck a bit. If we're going to be going
Cool.
someplace else anyway.
Right, okay, let's go. And I'm gonna go to the library.
Cool. I'm guessing Joven's following. What about everybody else?
Sorry, I'm still fucking processing.
I will
Sure.
also go, seeing as how I know what his current vampire form looks like.
Cool.
I'll go too. I'll bring Noodle so he doesn't eat anything else
Well-
in our room.
Actually, Akara, so as you're about to walk out and you have Noodle with you, Noodle's eyes go from the slits to really wide, and he just scatters down the hall and rounds a corner. You kind of hear Jethro do a little shriek, a door slams shut, the boom sound of him slamming into a wall, and then skittering down another hallway.
Oh no. I gotta chase my dragon.
I am taking no part.
I'm gonna catch
You
up
need
to my
any
fucking
help?
dragon.
He's
I'm-
got such a high speed. There's no way you can catch up to him.
Would
Why
you like
can't
a hand?
Let him.
He might like a
Yes.
hand.
I'll stay behind. You two can go to the library.
I'm still running after my dragon.
I will just casually walk after her. I know I can't catch this dragon.
So you guys, I'm gonna hop to you guys going to the library in a second. You guys that are chasing the dragon, it's you occasionally see glimpses of the dragon. Like Noodle will peek his head across, like out a hallway, and then skitter past you guys. Just run up and down a hallway, just dashing around corners. He'll run into open rooms and then like stand under the table and then run past you guys when you walk into the room. He's just doing a wild run kind of thing right now.
Gave my dragon methamphetamine.
But yeah, he doesn't really seem to focus on really just eating anything. He's got the zoomies, so he's zooming it out.
I think I've seen this type of behavior before. We just have to exhaust them.
But yeah, so while you guys are chasing and dealing with the dragon, that was really more of I didn't want Noodle to leave this room. So I was going to give him the zoomies so that he'd be running down the hallway. I did not expect 2 members of the party to stay and try to stop the zoomies. Don't know why I didn't expect that. But yeah, so here you guys are with going to the library, and Zana's not here. So yeah, you guys want to keep.
Once we're there, I'm gonna kind of look around to try and find the vampire that I saw Kirk looking as.
Sure.
Given
so
also
around.
where he was positioned.
Cool. So yeah, looking around. I mean, as soon as you see Kirk as the vampire, he looks up, eyes meet yours, and he kind of gives you a little wave, and then goes back to reading his book.
I'm gonna. John, over there.
I figured. Just want to walk up. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. I've never met before.
Okay. He just looks around. Yeah, sure. Would you be willing to sequester off a place for us to discuss something?
Sure, you're asking for a study room. Why, yes. I'm sure I can get a study room for you two gents. Let me see if I can find us that study room.
Please just do it.
Heads up the stairs.
Pinching the bridge of my nose the entire time. I'll follow him.
So after some negotiating, you guys do have a study room. He shuts the door and immediately shifts into the Eric form that you guys know and love, and kind of tosses himself into one of the bigger chairs. What's going on?
Well, we had our meeting with the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
and I figured I'd run it past you first, since you seem more knowledgeable and willing to actually answer our questions. Do you know that about the god that's stuffed in a crystal down there?
I know that the Lord leads religious ceremonies in some creepy basement, but I didn't know anything about like an actual god being held down there.
Well, as far as he's described it to us, at least, it's the original vampire.
What?
Yes. Stuffed into a crystal that apparently the elder gods.
Oh.
And he wants to release it.
Oh, that's fine.
Is it?
Yeah, no, he can't. No. If what I remember is, and keep in mind, it's a vague memory, I remember something happening and someone getting thrown in a crystal somewhere in a creepy basement. But no one can survive being in a crystal.
Are you sure about that?
Pretty sure. 98%, 97%.
That's not sure enough.
98% sure.
That's still not sure enough. They think this thing is a god.
Well, it's not.
Alright.
You think a god would be stuck in a crystal?
No, you're not wrong, but I assume some immense being would be stuck in a crystal.
I don't know. How powerful can you be if you're stuck in a crystal?
Well, you never tried this. I'm going to try and communicate mentally to Kirk and say.
So you reach out to Kirk, and all you get is like this. You get the howling wind that you heard when you went into the frozen mountain to fight Theobrin.
That's not insignificant. continuing like I didn't notice that, because I probably didn't. Well, it's obvious that this elder is guarding it, and he seems pretty strong.
So don't fuck with the elder.
Well, there lies the problem. The Lord wishes for us to kill the elder, so that he can release this being, so that he can defend from the attacks the North is doing on the Fallen Keep.
Trick it out in the sunlight. Boom. Instant death. Works for any vampire.
We have ways of casting daylight and such. However, I'm not worried about how we are going to kill it. I'm just wondering if you have any more insight into what this thing could be. Or what the Elder is, for that matter.
Yeah, no clue on what the elder is. Honestly, really no clue what the thing in the crystal is. I mean, the first vampire ever made would be... fuck, what's his name? Damn it, I saw it somewhere in a tomb somewhere.
At this point, I'll communicate to Zahn about hearing the wind and trying to speak with Kirk's mind.
Noted. However, I don't know what I can do with that information right now. Fuck, what was the name? I'm looking for it right now. Other thing. Would it happen to be Hyraxis?
Ugh. Yeah, I think so. Couldn't be
Alright.
Hyraxis, though.
You say it couldn't be?
No, it couldn't be Hyraxis.
Why not?
I don't know. It doesn't seem like a... doesn't seem like a thing that jackass would do. Get stuck in a crystal?
You seem like you know a lot about Hyraxis.
I don't know. It just doesn't seem like... First of all, can we stop saying his name?
Alright.
I don't know. I don't... Look, as I said, I don't know a lot. Everything's pretty much... Everything I've gotten is from, like, bits and pieces of, like, dreams and, like, memories and, like, seeing shit in tombs. So I'm trying to piece together everything without getting, murdered by whoever's killing my kind. So it's kind of hard. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like something that the first vampire would do, is get caught in a goddamn crystal. I think the Lord is mistaken. Some jackass got stuck in a crystal in that basement, and they're worshiping some jackass who suffocated because in a crystal you can't breathe. That's like going to a statue and going, this is a god. I'm going to open the statue and there will be a god inside. Even if there was a person that was in that side of that statue, that person is no longer alive.
That is quite the theory.
I mean, that just makes
kind
sense.
Kind of funny,
right?
actually. A bit funny.
I say do it just so the elder sees the dead body come flopping out of that fucking crystal.
Well, the elder most likely will be dead by the time that happens, but...
True.
I'm going to communicate a theory to Zahn. It could be similar to what I experienced back at that cave where I wasn't technically there, but I was alive.
True. We have seen a number of situations, or at least one, where a person can be put into sort of a stasis, where they are not dead, but not exactly living.
He looks like he's about to say something and then thinks the better of it. And goes, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if I'm in a stasis, would I be aware of the stasis?
Probably not.
So I don't know. I mean, if you say this stuff happens a lot, then...
Not that it happens a lot, it's just that we found it in a similar Velirine area, and Well, it happened to one of us. As he
That's
sort of
probably it.
nods towards Damokos.
So this probably happened to me. I've been at a lot of like tomb sites and all that.
Yes. Not exactly pertinent to this crystal, at least, though. Well, actually, perhaps when we go to kill this being, is it possible for you to sneak in?
Nope, not going anywhere near there.
Right.
Not
Would it be
dealing with that shit.
possible for you to magically see into the room?
What?
Do you have access to scrying or other effects?
Nope.
Unfortunate. If we were to make you a scroll, would you be able to cast it?
I don't know. My magic's not really the best.
Would you be willing to try, is all I'm asking, because I feel like you have potential information that your brain doesn't realize it has access to right now, but something of the like might be able to spring it forth.
I mean, yeah, I'd be willing to try, but I'm not going in that basement.
Figured. Is that something you can do, Damokos? Can you make a scroll of scrying? Well, you have until tomorrow to attempt it, if you would like.
Would it help for him to see an image of the creature, perhaps, here?
Would it help to have an image of the creature, you think?
Of the elder or the
Of the
crystal?
The crystal.
Or of the elder, whichever.
Or of the
I mean,
elder, whichever you feel
Don't
might be
bring
important.
that elder shit into this room. That's like on par with saying that motherfucker's name.
Sure.
Anyway. Yeah, I mean, if you can draw me a picture of the crystal, that'd be fine.
Are there
Towards Damokos.
are there like candles nearby?
There are some candles in this room, yeah.
Cool. So I am first going to I'm going to take a candle off a wall so that way it's not near any potentially flammable things. I'm going to first cast control flames on it.
Sure.
Does it react if is it magical or non-magical?
It's not magical.
Cool. So I will expand the flame to be much larger.
Sure.
5 feet. 5 feet, Jesus. That's
That's a big fucking flame.
why I moved it away from the wall. And then I am going to cast control flames again.
He kind of goes, "Hey, can we take the fire away from the place full of books?"
So I moved it away from the walls.
Well, I mean, just in general,
Oh.
like this is a huge fucking fire.
I can
you're
dim
just
it.
Throwing into this room. Do you understand how much knowledge is behind that wall? If you were to just lose control of this flame for a second, boom,
It won't
gone.
happen. And then I'm going to shape it into the form of the crystal and exactly basically what we saw just through fire and
And he's gonna look at it and go, "Yeah, doesn't ring a bell."
Unfortunate.
I'm going to return the flame to how it was.
Alright, well. If you think of anything regarding someone getting put into a crystal like that, or the first vampire, or whatever, it'd probably be useful for us. Because we most likely are going to do this, but I would like to have the majority of our information about what is going to happen once we do it.
Sure. I'll find you guys.
Cool. Do you happen to have any more potions, by the way?
What kind?
Mostly of the healing variety.
I'll have to take a look. I'll send any that I find to your rooms. I got some more water breathing.
Fortunately, I don't think I'm going to need any of those anytime soon.
You sure? I kind of have too much water breathing.
Well, there's not exactly a whole lot of water around here, except in the giant ocean underneath our feet that has many things that wish to eat and kill us inside of it.
Okay. I'll just send any healing and fun potion I find your way. All right, sounds good. All right, I'll catch you guys later. And he leaves the room.
Alright. That's it. Going back.
Cool. So, you guys go back to the main room where I assume that Kara and Jovan are tired from chasing a seemingly endless stamina dragon around. A dragon that's now the size of a dog, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
what
They're
size
both
dog?
8 years older.
It is.
Yeah.
God, I'm so bad. It's about a.
Let's go with by grade: small, medium, or large.
Right on the cusp of. It's on the medium side, but it's
was
leaning
about
more
to say.
towards small.
If it's a dog, it's probably medium.
I don't know what that means in terms of dog size.
In terms of
It
dogs,
means
it's
it's
like,
basically it's a creature that will fill a 5-foot square, basically.
Oh, I was just going with like puppy dog or like those
Like smaller than a golden?
or like terrier, and then
Looks like a golden that's just about golden that's a little bit smaller than a full-grown golden.
oh, that's big. And then large is like the mastiffs and
I
like
was counting
those types
large
of
as
dogs.
like a fucking Irish wolfhound.
Yeah, like
Them dogs is huge.
Yeah. So good to know. Big as a baby golden retriever.
I'm also running from the realization that my family's caught up with vampires.
It's a lot worse than that.
I don't
So you
want
guys
it.
all meet up.
I'm taking those 2 greater healing potions, by the way.
Sounds good. So you guys do meet up in the living room. You do hear some banging and crashing coming on from deeper within the set of rooms. It just banging and crashing of Noodle slamming against like walls, throwing open doors, from brute force. Any door that really wasn't left fully shut, he slams into and throws open, and then there's silence. You can presume he finally collapsed from being so tired, and fell asleep.
Jethro back around, or did she just?
Nope. Jethro heard the dragon coming after her and shut the door.
Cool.
And she has not left her room yet.
Fine with me. Alright, well. Is there anything else that we needed to have done today?
I'm gonna ask Damokos, can you still scry?
Not at the moment. Tomorrow I can.
If you're thinking about scrying on your sister, I would avoid doing so right now. That seems like an unnecessary distraction. I understand your want to understand why your family is caught up with all of this nonsense, but my family technically is too, and I don't quite understand it just yet either, but while we are here, we should probably avoid trying to upset them.
I also have suspicions about my father in relation to vampires, perhaps.
Is the only one not cut up with vampires Yovan? Like the only person not from
Well,
this fucking country.
We can't say that for sure.
well, I would like to know why you collapsed in the underground area.
It's hard to explain, but I'll give it my best shot.
Please do.
When I was walking with you guys, I began to get a very crushing headache, and I heard a voice speaking to me. They said that they wanted me to break free and to not be controlled. The next thing I knew, I was walking in what felt very real, but might have been a memory, or perhaps one of those time distortions. I had kept walking past the point where I awoke, and there were more people down there. It was inhabited. I remember seeing someone with black hair brush past me rather abruptly. They cursed at me, called me a fallen butcher, before entering an oaken door and being surprised by Theobrin in what I can only assume was some form of ambush attack. And he was not very pleased with my presence there either. Slammed me against the wall with his damnable magic, and when I began to come to, used this damned serpent staff to knock me unconscious again. Seemed to believe that Curus had something to do with my presence there. When I awoke, I was with all of you, having evidently lost consciousness during this episode, which I am thankful for. I do not want to know what would happen if I had been conscious during that and barged into what was the Elder's Den.
Right. Well, I don't exactly know what that tells us, other than more that Curus and people after Theobrin, which we saw in that dream already. Was that black-haired individual recognized anyone?
No, the description of the other person does not immediately ring the bell for anybody.
Didn't think so. Well, on top of that, I believe Kirk is very much connected to Theobrin, more than, well, at least we have more information about that, since Damokos tried to mentally speak to him, and all he got was roaring, snowy winds, like the top of that mountain. So,
That's troubling.
yes. Well, not exactly. It just confirms my suspicion that Theobrin had something to do with their creation. And or I believe they are clones, something like that. They just all seem to share his emotions about things. and possibly his memories that they don't seem to quite understand. Either way, we should rest before tomorrow, since we have to kill a vampire lord. Whoopee.
I'm also
So it'd
not
be
entirely.
You go ahead.
Also not entirely sure about making that spell scroll of scrying, as
I wouldn't worry about it. You showed him the image and he thought nothing of it, it seems, so...
yes, well, believe it or not, I was more concerned. I know scrying through the orb and not outside of that, so wouldn't want any of those energies to potentially go into the scroll.
Yes. Makes sense. Please make sure you have that daylight spell prepared again, Kara. Because you're going to probably need it more than once.
I actually had a question. Do you want like daylight, or do you want like sunbeam daylight? Because I can do that too.
Can you do both?
Yes,
Then
technically.
do both.
Okay.
You're probably going to need both.
Okay.
We fought one vampire and he was an ass. This one can't exactly run away from us like the other one, but I assume that daylight most likely will make him at least weakened. And that will help us. And then you can finish him off with a sunbeam, maybe. That might kill him for good, I don't quite know. Also, stakes. We should probably remember those stakes that we have, if we have any left.
I think Joven has those.
Yes.
I do. Out of curiosity, when this affair with the vampires is concluded, and we are returning back to Moroth, may we potentially make a bit of a detour?
I mean, possibly.
We
We
also
are.
still have to go see Falamir and that village because you said we would.
Well, I said that in the hopes that we could get some questions answered, but Kirk answered most of them for me. Or tried to, at least. When we go back down there, that just seems like a good idea, since it's on the way anyways. But if you have something else, Joven, I guess we can. I'm not exactly on a time crunch, but...
I believe my parents were successful in their trip here and attempted to make their way back. I am unsure what might have befallen them in doing so, but if we could mayhaps ask around, or
Well, of course we can ask around, it's just... I don't exactly know how to go people bounty hunting and such.
just something to
Are you sure? Are you
That
sure
was-
you don't know how to go people bounty hunting?
Well, for your information, you are not hard to find.
And 2 woodworkers are?
That's what I'm saying. 2 woodworkers are not easy to find. Nondescript people who don't, kill things in their wake and then talk to everyone in a town, do things like that. It was very easy to ask around and find out where you guys were, by the way.
I
believe it.
it would help me answer something that has been troubling me as of late, if
Oh,
we
and
were
I-
able to find them.
I have no problem assisting you in that. It's just... if we don't find any good, credible information on their whereabouts, I'm asking, since we do have very important things that need to be done, try to not put that as our main focus if we don't find good information.
I understand.
Of course. Anyways, I should sleep because I used all my hit dice.
You sure you don't want to go fight the vampire lord right now?
No.
No.
You guys sounded so sad.
I have 25 hit points.
That's more than enough.
No, it's not. I don't even want to like fight party members with this many hit points, let alone like a really old, grotesque vampire.
Hey, don't be mean.
Fuck the elder. Fuck the elder.
Fuck
All right.
the elderly.
That's right. You guys heard it here. FetchQuest. Our motto is "Fuck the elderly."
All right.
And any meaning
Sleep.
of the word.
Long rest. Press the long rest button.
Cool. So,
Damocles, can I talk to you for a bit before we retire for the evening?
Of course, I was contemplating a spell choice, but what is it?
I'm gonna see if Zahn and Kara are going to bed.
I am going to bed. You're not allowed to RP without me. Get out of here. I'm going.
I mean, I guess I'll go back to my room and contemplate my spell choices.
so real quick, I do want to say, Kara, as you do go back into your room, you do notice that Noodle has started collecting more weapons and keeping them under the bed.
Where are you getting these? We're gonna have to get you a bag before we leave.
Just give him a bag of infinite daggers, and then he'll never steal anything again because he can just pull out one whenever he wants.
No, I need it
No, you don't. When do you ever use daggers?
to train him. I'm going to get him before we leave. I just have to remember to get him a bag so that he can bring it with us.
Okay. All right. All right. Damocles and Yovan, you're good.
Just watching them go, I'm just gonna be like, it's a good thing that we've managed to secure Jeffer, right? Taking her from this place. I did not hear that.
No, I mean, we literally can't hear
Yeah.
you.
Oh no.
You good? No, we can't. If you're talking at all, we can't hear you. Okay. I hear a buzzing sound, but I'm not sure whether that's him or not.
Testing.
Yep.
I can hear you. It's
very
soft.
quiet.
How's that?
Better.
Better.
Yeah.
Okay. I said I would think so, and I hope so.
How do you feel about this?
I mean, I'm worried, of course. I mean, it's a freaking vampire lord we're dealing with here, but we've fought difficult things before.
So worry and concern. That is good. Were I to confine something into you, Damokos, would you keep it somewhat of a secret?
Yes.
There is a reason I wish to find my parents as soon as possible. More so than simply reuniting with them. Ever since I came back, it has felt like my mind is clearer than it has been before. My thoughts sharper. I feel more in control now than ever, but there's a dullness as well. When I saw Jethra and realized that we were finally coming to rescue her, that our trek here had finally paid off, I felt nothing. And I have felt a nothingness from memories that I have had up until reuniting with you and beyond. I wish to see how far this goes. If, when I do find those I have been searching for most of my life to find, if perhaps that might rekindle something.
That is good. Family is important. It's also dangerous in a way, but it would be good for you to find them, I think.
Would be good to know which one of me is me. I apologize for taking your time.
It's all right. I will keep your secret, but on your own time, it might be a good idea to tell that to the others as well.
Perhaps, but Zahn's already quite suspicious of me, and I do not think my standing with Kara was quite good even before this happened.
Well, welcome to the club of being suspicious by Zahn.
Take care, Damokos.
You too. Hopefully I can speak tomorrow.
Hopefully.
Not through the mind only.
With all due luck, that will be the case, and hopefully we all live through this. Keeping you three alive might be the only reason I'm still here. And with that, Joven's gonna go off to bed.
Fantastic. Okay, is there anything else? Is there anything anybody else wants to do right before they go to bed? No? Okay. So, Joven, as you're drifting off to sleep, your eyes close, and then when they open again, you're standing in front of a table that has your gauntlets laying on them. You reach out to grab one of them, and you can see the shark tattoo on your hand. It hasn't been damaged at all. In fact, it is glowing a little bit.
I'm going to freeze as I look at this. I'm just gonna kind of arch a brow. It's like, what is this? Just try to look around at my surroundings.
So it kind of almost looks very similar to the room that the group found you in before, just less dusty. There's a few weapons on the wall. There's some armor on some armor stands. There's a chest full of clothes that's kind of propped open a little bit. There's a bookshelf with some books in there. There's a table which does have your gauntlets on there, and there's a sort of narrow bed that really looks like it can fit you on there and pretty much no one else. There's almost a soft knock at the door.
Do I have some feeling or something of who it might be, or just no clue?
Just a knock at the door. Not sure who's behind it.
I forget, was it the door had any sort of like bars or anything on it, or was it just a door?
It's just a wooden door.
Enter.
The door opens, and Curus, in his full armor with the eagle on the chest, sort of the winged, almost it looks almost like the angel winged armor, well, not angel winged, eagle winged armor, kind of steps through, and he goes, "Yorkons, are you all right?"
I'm fine.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Look, I'm sorry to send you after Theobrin. I know simply collecting him isn't really a job for someone of your status, but there's really no one else I can trust. You have specific talents that I believe can help wrangle Theobrin in. This
I
isn't a
understand.
typical remove an enemy type of job just to capture. But if you think that this is like, if you have any doubts at all, I can send somebody else.
Can I make an insight check?
Sure, go ahead and make an insight check. It does look like, it's kind of hard to tell through the metal helmet, but it does seem to be that he genuinely cares. He's trying to make sure you're okay. He's sending you on what he believes is a tough assignment. So he's trying to make sure you're okay before you leave. One thing you do notice is that he's not wielding his typical sword on his waist. Instead, he has the dagger.
The dagger that the Arkmir one.
Yeah. The one that Jethra has.
I'm gonna nod as I reach for the gauntlets. I know this must not be easy for you as much as it is for anyone else.
He kind of taps his fingers on the dagger blade sadly and says, every sacrifice is necessary, Orkans. Our future is built on it. Just remember, after we're done, you can rest. There'll be no more assignments after this.
Just gonna nod. One last job.
He nods, turns and leaves, and Joven, you wake up. Everyone wakes up, and that's where we're going to end tonight's episode. Thank you guys so much for joining us on another episode of FetchQuest. Y'all have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Stay safe. Apparently, coronavirus is respreading. Jesus, wear a fucking mask, people. All right, stay safe, guys. Anything anyone wants to pitch or promote? No?
No.
All right. Follow our Twitch, follow our Twitter, follow our YouTube. Well, subscribe to our YouTube. And yeah, have a great day, guys.
Mhm.
See you next week.